My good people, my good people. Hello, world. I'd like to welcome you back to the show that's hot with your boy Rob Scott. This is Rob's Two Cents, baby. What's going on, everybody? Glad to have everybody back. We're in the holiday seasons, everybody. We got Thanksgiving right around the corner, so happy Thanksgiving to you all that's watching the show today. And we got a lot to talk about in the world of sports. It's a lot of things that people need to be thankful for. If we look at the Golden State Warriors, they have to be thankful that Steph Curry is playing at an MVP level. If we look at the Baltimore Ravens, they have to be thankful that Lamar Jackson is able to elevate this team in spite of all the injuries. And if we look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they have to be thankful for being back in first place, baby. Because the Kansas City Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys something. The Kansas City Chiefs is back on top, baby. They are once again ahead of the AFC West division with a record of 7-4, a game right above the Chargers, and are currently on a 4-game winning streak. Kansas City right now is playing some great football. I mean, we look up, and not so long ago, this was the same team struggling to be at 500 just a few weeks ago. We're talking about a Kansas City Chiefs team that people thought were done. They said the NFL had figured them out. They said Patrick Mahomes has turned into a turnover machine. And yet the Kansas City Chiefs were able to turn it around. As I mentioned, remember, the Chargers were ahead of this division. Justin Herbert playing some excellent football this year. He has the Los Angeles Chargers playing some great football this season. Their record at 6-4, they look like they were ready to become the new champions of the AFC West. And the Kansas City Chiefs said, not yet, my friend. The Kansas City Chiefs have turned their fortunes around, as I mentioned, on a 4-game winning streak, having some great victories within this 4-game winning streak. We're talking about getting a great win against the Giants, even though the Giants have not been winning games. They've been making games tough on teams. They got a win against the Packers, yet I won't call that one a great win. We have to remember Aaron Rodgers was not there. Aaron Rodgers was doing a suspension for lying about being vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. And yet the Chiefs were able to win a game that they so desperately needed. The Chiefs were then able to go and blow out the Raiders. And that had to be a huge confidence booster. I mean, remember that game? Patrick Mahomes got the That Boy Cold award last show after that 5 touchdown, 0 interception performance. And then he follows it right up with a win against the Cowboys. Now, granted, I'm not so quick to crown the Kansas City Chiefs the best team in the AFC conference. And that's due to the fact that even though they got a win against the Dallas Cowboys, even though the Dallas Cowboys right now are leading their division in the NFC East, neither quarterback was able to score a touchdown, which still makes me worry a little bit about Patrick Mahomes. Now, don't get me wrong, Pat Mahomes still having an outstanding season. I mean, on the year, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, thrown for 3,200 yards. Pat Mahomes is still doing Pat Mahomes-like things. Look like he's on course right now to have another 4,000-yard season in the air, being the head of the snake, being the leader of this team, being the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Kansas City Chiefs really need to get it together. Because right now, their defensive rankings are not up to par. They are not what you would bank your money on to say that the Kansas City Chiefs can make a 3rd consecutive appearance to the Super Bowl, 4th consecutive appearance to the AFC Championship game. I mean, we look at their defensive rankings right now in total yards. They're ranked 22 in the NFL. We're talking about 30 teams 32 teams, excuse me. 16 teams in each conference. Out of 32, they ranked 22. They're ranked 23 in passing yards allowed. They get a little lower in rushing yards and points scored at 15 and 16, and they also ranked 11 in takeaways with 14 takeaways on the season. But that's not something that you'll hang your hat on. And if Patrick Mahomes, if he's gonna have games in which he can't score, he's lucky Dallas wasn't able to take advantage of it. I don't know what was going on with Dak Prescott. You have to play with who you have out there. I understand during that game you're missing a receiver. You're missing Amari Cooper because Amari Cooper is another person that's going through some issues with the vaccine. I understand that. But you have to play with who you have out there. And throwing for 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, that's not the Dak Prescott we came to know and love. So now we have to wonder now, what's going to happen now with the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll talk about a little bit of that later. But we definitely have to talk about what Kansas City Chiefs has done. And what they've done is they've been able to reclaim their division, to get that crown as the kings of the AFC West. And now they're looking to make another deep playoff push. Right now, Kansas City playing some great football. I even saw Keyshawn Johnson has them at ranked number 1 on his top 5 football list, which you'll get Rob's 2 cents, top 5 NFL teams right now after week 12. But we have to give it up for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're playing excellent football. Andy Reid has his team playing some excellent football. As I mentioned, even though he wasn't able to score against the Dallas Cowboys, he still made some productive passes. Not to mention the game before against the Las Vegas Raiders, throwing 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think they'll be just fine. Pat Mahomes has even thrown himself now into the MVP conversation. As I mentioned, 25 touchdowns on the year, 11 interceptions, 3,200 passing yards. Kansas City Chiefs right now, they're rocking and rolling. But as I mentioned, there has to be something that people are thankful for in this time of Thanksgiving. And I'm going to let you guys know something right now. The Phoenix Suns are rocking and rolling right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we jump right over into the NBA. See, this is why I love Rob's 2 cents, because on this show, we're going to talk about the teams that the national media is not covering. We haven't heard anything about the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to tell you about the Phoenix Suns, because right now they're on a 13-game winning streak, ladies and gentlemen. That doesn't come from a fluke. That doesn't come from an aberration. That comes from playing excellent basketball. And the Phoenix Suns right now are doing their thing. We look at Chris Paul right now, head of the snake, averaging 10.3 assists per game. We look at Chris Paul right now, and you got to understand, you are looking at a monster right now. As we see, he's number 1 in assists. Averaging, as I mentioned, 10.3 assists per game. Getting people where they need to go. Setting up the offense. Setting up the defense. Because quiet as kept, he's ranked 3rd on the steals list at 2.2 steals per game. Chris Paul doing it all for this Phoenix Suns team. We look at him on the year. Chris Paul doing Chris Paul-like things, averaging 13.9 points a game, 10.3 assists, 4 rebounds a game, 2.2 steals a game. Now, with this Phoenix Suns team, I was one of the naysayers, one of the analysts that covers this sport, and said that I don't think that the Phoenix Suns can get back to the NBA Finals. I still stand on that. But I never said I don't think that this team is for real. I was the one screaming the praises of the Phoenix Suns last year when I started Rob's 2 cents. When everybody wanted to overlook the Phoenix Suns, I said, hold on. We saw what this team did in the bubble. We saw them win 10 straight games to try to keep their playoff dreams alive. Even though they failed because other teams continued to win as well. They won 10 straight games. They held up their end of the bargain. And we were saying, man, if they had somebody there to step up as the leader, because I didn't think Devin Booker was quite there yet. He was stepping up as a scoring leader. But I'm talking about a leader on this team. Somebody that can be the coach's ears and eyes on the team. Somebody that can be the coach's voice on the court while you're playing. Enter Chris Paul. Enter the point guard. Enter probably, besides Charles Barkley or Karl Malone, one of the greatest players to ever play the NBA without an NBA championship. Chris Paul comes and he turns life around for this Phoenix Suns team. We're talking about a team that barely made the play-in. Chris Paul comes. The team finished second in the Western Conference last season. And they make it all the way to the NBA Finals where they'll lose to the Greek Freak in 6 games. Chris Paul is a winner. Chris Paul has the heart of a champion. Unfortunately, in previous seasons, his body could not follow where his heart wanted to go. But last year, Chris Paul was relatively healthy. He was able to complete the playoffs. I think he missed a couple games, but he was able to complete that playoff run. And right now, he looks like he's on a mission, along with Devin Booker, his partner in crime. And we all know about D-Book, protege of Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant, my favorite player. Devin Booker right now, 22.4 points, 5.6 rebounds, 4.9 assists, right on track, scoring the way he needs to score. He needs to work on that efficiency a little bit. But the guy's going to shoot his shots. He's going to get up volume shots. They still got the big man, DeAndre Ayton, 16 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game, just being an absolute stud in the paint. But this is what's going to be what's overlooked about the Phoenix Suns, and this is the reason that they're winning. You have to look at the fact that when DeAndre Ayton sits down or if he gets injured, you got JaVale McGee coming off the bench. JaVale McGee is a certified 7-footer. The man is a big, and that was the problem that the Phoenix faced last year, is that when DeAndre Ayton leaves the court, who's going to step up? Their biggest player was Torrey Craig, who's now, I believe he's with the Pacers now. And he's only about 6'9". So you lose that height with DeAndre Ayton. You go all the way down to Torrey Craig, and now you're asking DeAndre Ayton to play 40-plus minutes in a game trying to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo, trying to guard other bigs in this league. And eventually he gave out. Now you can get the big man some rest because you don't get smaller when he goes sit down. You had JaVale McGee come in. And JaVale has been productive as a role player on this team, as a bench player. He's averaging 10.3 points per game, 6.8 rebounds. As I mentioned, this team is rocking and rolling, 13-game winning streak. Don't be surprised if we see Phoenix versus Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. You heard it here first on Rob's 2 cents. Coach Monty Williams and the Phoenix Suns, they're leading this team. They have a mission. They want to make it back to the dance. Chris Paul wants that ring. Now, with the way Golden State is playing, I don't know if that's going to happen. Because that leads me right into my next segment of the Golden State Warriors have to be thankful not just for Steph Curry. They have to be thankful for the others. You have to remember, Steph Curry last season, he caught fire after the All-Star game. Started playing MVP, like going crazy, breaking all type of records. Didn't have any help. When it came to teams when you wanted to play Steph, double team Steph, triple team Steph, do not let him breathe. When he comes off that screen, he needs to see a body. When he does that curl action, he needs to see a body. When he dribbles the ball, once he gets past half court, he needs to see a body. And in some instances, some people guarding him 94 feet. They knew what Steph can do, but the question was, who was going to step up? Who was going to come along for the ride? And boy, this year, let me tell y'all something. The Warriors have stepped up. They're on a 4-game winning streak, 9-1 in their last 10 games. They're 6-1 on the road, 9-1 at home, with a record of 15-2. Best team, not just in the Western Conference, in the NBA. I don't care what you say. You say it's 17 games. We're almost close to 20 games. What's the old saying? The season doesn't start until you get into that 20th game. By that 20th game, you kind of know the direction that your team is going in. And right now, the Golden State Warriors are going up because you got to remember, they're doing all this. And Klay, you're not back yet. Klay's not projected to come back from Christmas, and we keep getting reports that he might come back a little earlier. Uh-oh for the NBA. Uh-oh for any opposing team that plays the Golden State Warriors. We know what Steph has done. We know that Steph right now is tops in the league right now. We look at him, the season leaders. He's a decimal point right under Kevin Durant for the best scorer in the league at 28.4. Durant is at 28.5. He's 0.1 under Durant for the best scorer in the league. But we have to talk about the others. Because without the others, regardless of what Steph scores, Golden State doesn't win. We have to talk about Jordan Poole and the way that he stepped up, averaging 18.4 points this year. Giving you 3 rebounds, 3 assists. We got to talk about Jordan Poole and what he was able to do. Remember, they just played Toronto. No, I'm sorry, not Toronto. They played Detroit without without Steph, without Draymond, without Iguodala, and without Otto Porter, and they still were able to get the W. Jordan Poole, 32 points. Of 13 to 22 shooting, 4-8 from the 3-point line, 7 rebounds, 4 turnovers though. No worries. What did he do? Well, they played Toronto the next game after that. And Toronto, who we all know, they can guard Steph. They proved that in the NBA Finals 2 years ago. They can guard Steph. Steph Curry, I don't know what it is about Toronto. They like to see him because Van Fleet, he doesn't even play in the game anymore. He just face guards Steph all night. Wherever Steph goes, that's his shadow. And then even then, Steph is still seeing the double team and triple team as he comes off those screens. Steph Curry was held in check. Only 12 points. I think he was 1 of 12 from the 3-point, from the field or something like that. Just held in check. But Jordan Poole followed up his 32-point performance with a 33-point performance against Toronto. He said, don't worry, you guys triple team Steph. Leave me open. That's the worst thing you can do because he proceeded to go 10 of 3 from the field, 8 of 11 from the 3-point line. Jordan Poole, we're talking about a guy who's only been in the league for 3 years. He was drafted in 2019. This is his 3rd season. We're talking about a guy, when he first came in the league, he was only averaging 8.8 points. And then the following year after that, in the 2020-2021 season, it was 12 points. Now he's jumped all the way to 18.4, being a huge contributor on this team. And we know once Klay comes back, he's going to be on the bench. But can you think of a better 6th man than Jordan Poole? Jordan Poole, that boy cold. Back-to-back 30-point performances. But he's not alone. Oh, he's not alone. He has a previous number 1 draft pick as his running mate. As we see what Andrew Wiggins is doing. Now, a lot of people gave up on Andrew. A lot of people thought Andrew Wiggins was a bust. Stephen A. Smith was quoted saying he wouldn't trade him for a bag of chips. We know what Jimmy Butler did when he was in Minnesota. He said, give me the bums. Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, you guys play together. Give me the bums. Give me the B squad. Matter of fact, give me the C squad. And we'll beat you. And Jimmy Butler proceeded to whip that tail in scrimmage games. They said Andrew Wiggins was soft. They said he couldn't cut it. But what it was is expectations was too big for Andrew Wiggins. No offense to him. He's an excellent player. But he's not meant to be the star of the team. But as a role player, as a secondary, third option, Andrew Wiggins get buckets. And that's what he's been doing lately. Because in that same game versus Detroit, where Curry, Draymond, Otto Porter, Iguodala didn't play, he gave you 27. Had himself a game. And then to follow up against Detroit, he gave you 32 points, 12 or 20 from the field, 6 or 8 from the three-point line. I don't know what it is when you get on Golden State. You just know how to shoot all of a sudden. And you can't forget about the other guys. Toscano Anderson, Gary Payton II. I'm sorry. I know I called him the third in one of my videos. My mistake. GP2. Playing defense. And we got to remember, in that game, they didn't even have Gary Payton II. So Golden State is showing that when players go down, others step up. In the game against Toronto, they didn't have GP2. And these other players are stepping up. They're doing their thing. And Golden State right now is playing some excellent basketball. And as I mentioned before, when Klay comes back, it's going to be Mayday season. Because the cavalry is coming. Not to mention they're going to get Wiseman as well. I like that kid Kuminga. He's a solid big for them. With Kuminga, Looney, Draymond, and James Wiseman. That is a formidable front court. I'm going to tell you guys something, man. Don't sleep on the Golden State Warriors because they're back. And I just laugh about that. Because remember when Draymond told you guys, who said the dynasty was over? And I just love the way Steve Kerr has this motion offense going. Everybody touches the ball. Just great cohesion within the team. You can tell they're having fun. Golden State right now is the best team in the NBA. Hands down. And then we're going to jump back to the NFL for a moment because I have to give you Rob's 2 cents. I have to give you Rob's top 5 picks right now. Top 5 teams in the NFL after week 12. And we have to start off with the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay comes in at number 5 for me. Can't be number 1. As I mentioned, they did have a loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though the Chiefs, Aaron Rodgers didn't play, they still took a L. But right now, they are performing well. 8-3 on the year. 4-0 at home, so it's tough to play right now in Lambeau. And they've had some pretty wins, great wins over this season. I mean, just a great win a couple weeks ago against the Cardinals where they was able to beat the Cardinals by a field goal. And then even though they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, had a great bounce-back game against the Seattle Seahawks where they shut them out. We saw the return of Aaron Rodgers. We saw the return of Russell Wilson. That was the story that was going. We was going to see the battle of the Giants. Even though Seahawks haven't had a great record this year, but Russell Wilson is a proven champion in the NFL. And they were able to shut them out. And then you go into the following Sunday, and then you lose a very close game against a very tough Minnesota team who happens to be in your conference. I don't even count the Bears right now. Right now, we're nothing. We don't deserve to be in the NFL playoffs. We don't deserve to be talked about right now. And then you have a tough game coming up this Sunday versus the Los Angeles Rams, who desperately need a bounce-back game. They haven't even made my top 5 this week. They need a bounce-back game. Odell needs to have a great game. Matthew Stafford needs to have a great game. So many storylines surrounding the Los Angeles Rams that they need this victory against the Packers. And I hope they come in playing like they need it, playing desperate football. Because right now, their reputation is at stake. Because it seems like nobody fears the Rams. But right now, Green Bay playing excellent football, even though they took that L against the Vikings. I do believe they can pull it out against the Rams. Rams might not be so scary as we thought they were, but them losing to the Vikings like that, I had to put them at number 5. Even though Aaron Rodgers, you can't deny what he's doing this year. 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year. He's missed one game. So just think of he can possibly be sitting at 24, 25, maybe even 26 touchdowns right now had he not missed that game. I'm not going to hold him lying about COVID against him because at the end of the day, that's something that was done off the field. My top picks of the NFL teams are solely based on what they've done on the field, which brings me to number 4. I have to put Kansas City at number 4. Right now, they're playing excellent football. As I mentioned, they had a great win against the Packers. Even though Jordan Love was there, Kansas City Chiefs desperately needing these games now. A 4-game winning streak, 7-4 in the year, top of their division in the AFC West. We know Kansas City right now is playing excellent football, had a great win against the Cowboys, and they have the Broncos coming up, and we should look at that as a W right now. Their next couple of games are going to be some gimme games. They should beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They should beat the Denver Broncos. But during this season in the NFL, it has been the old cliche, expect the unexpected. And at number 3, we got to go with old Goat Brady. Old Goat Brady. Old Tom Brady. I have to put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in at number 3. Tampa Bay got a good bounce back win after suffering 2 horrible losses, losing to the Saints with their backup quarterback in Simeon. Trevor Simeon, and then also losing to the Washington football team. Remember, I said that was a WFT that turned into a WTF moment, losing to the Washington football team. Just a horrible loss, but able to bounce back from the bye week, play the New York Giants, get a great blowout victory, 30-10. Tom Brady out there having QB draws, getting a first down with his legs. It's showing people that the 44-year-old man still got it. And we know what Tom Brady's done this year. We talk about the 29 touchdowns. Yes, he's thrown 8 interceptions, but 29 touchdowns for 3,177 yards on the year. Tom Brady continuing to wow everybody at age 44, and even has broken the record that I'm going to give him a shout out on. Not broke, but tied a record that I'm going to give him a shout out on at the end of the show. I have to put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in at number 3, playing some great football. Defense still a little questionable, but, they got Rob Gronkowski back. You're going to be getting Antonio Brown back. I believe they got one of their cornerbacks back. So right now, Tampa Bay is trying to get healthy at the right time, and we all know when they do catch a groove with Psycho Tom back, leading this ship and being the El Capitan of the championship brigade, we do see Tampa Bay coming out of the NFC, making another back-to-back trip to the Super Bowl, baby. And at number 2. Speaking of teams that need to be thankful, I need to be asking to be forgiven. Because at number 2, I have to put the New England Patriots there, y'all. Yes, Belichick has proven it wasn't just the Brady way that was winning these championships. Oh, the Belichick way, the Patriot way, it does work. Let me tell you guys something right now. These New England Patriots right now are playing excellent football, being led by their quarterback, Mac Jones. And even though this is his rookie year, 14 touchdowns on the year, 8 interceptions ain't that bad for a rookie. Thrown for about 2,500 yards on the year. But we all know what wins championship, and that's that defense. That Belichick defense is starting to stand up. I mean, we didn't know where they were going to get rid of Stephon Gilmore. We are they throwing in the towel? But this defense have stepped up. Right now, they're ranked 3rd in the NFL on total yards, 6th in the NFL for passing yards completed, 8th for rushing yards. They're ranked first for points scored, holding teams to only 16.1 points per game, and they're third in takeaways with 21 on the year. We're talking about, Bill Belichick just stepping up as the leader of this team, showing them that, hey, Tom Brady did not win those rings on his own. He had me as his coach, and now he got these defensive monsters stepping up, making big-time plays, holding the Patriots down, and they are getting some great victories, man. We look at the New England Patriots right now. They're on a 5-game winning streak, man, and blowing out teams at that. They had a close game against the LA Chargers, not to mention the week before that game, blew out the New York Jets 54-13. Just all aspects of the team was getting it done. Special team, offense, defense. Come back, get a close victory against the Los Angeles Chargers, who's not just a walk through the park. This is a tough football team going neck and neck with the Kansas City Chiefs, who are number 1 in the AFC West. And then come back, blow out the Panthers 24-6, and then showed up the Cleveland Browns 45-7, and then dog walked the Atlanta Falcons with the shutout victory 25-0. I'm talking about right now the New England Patriots are probably playing some of the best football in the NFL. And if we're talking about top-ranked teams in the AFC, if we're talking about teams that's putting a little fear in people, especially with the way that defense is playing, you have to go with Bill Belichick and his New England Patriots. And, of course, number 1, I still have to stay with Arizona right now, man. Arizona, we know what Kyler Murray's done, 17 touchdowns on the year, 7 interceptions, thrown for 2,276 yards on the year. He has that beast of a man as his receiver. DeAndre Hopkins was probably one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, going neck and neck with Devontae Adams for 1 or 2 respectively. I mean, he's already caught we look at DeAndre Hopkins, he already has 7 touchdowns on the year for 486 yards in the air. And we know, and we just know that defense, Arizona's defense is what's been keeping them in games. And we know right now that defense is playing excellent, ranked 5th in total yards per game, ranked 4th in passing yards, ranked 4th in points scored, and ranked 4 in takeaway. You can run on this team, but even that is limited. But they'll run on you with their stud and James Conner. And they've been missing Kyler Murray. They've been missing DeAndre Hopkins. And yet Colt McCoy has been able to come in with the system that Arizona has established, able to get some big victories. Them bringing over Zach Ertz, the stud tight end from Philadelphia, definitely can't hurt you either. Not to mention, you still got what's my boy name over there? Kurt. Yeah, Kirk, that's a bad boy. Christian Kirk, that's a bad boy. So wait, you're going to have Christian Kirk. You still got A.J. Green, and then you're going to have DeAndre Hopkins when he comes back from injury. Right now, the Arizona's playing some great football. I don't think people want to sleep too much on the Arizona Cardinals right now. They're still the best team in the NFL with a record of 9-2. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. And we got to remember, coming up is the Chicago Bears. And they have a bye week, actually. So, that gives Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins more time to rest. And now you might see them both come back against the Chicago Bears in Week 14. And now you're going to have a problem on your hand bringing that dynamic quarterback along with his Hall of Fame receiver. I'm telling you guys, man, the Arizona Cardinals still should not be slept on. And those are my top 5 teams right now in the NFL. Number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. Number 2, the New England Patriots. Number 3, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 5, the Green Bay Packers. Got a couple quick hitters before we end the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. LeBron James, as we know, the other night when the Lakers went against the Detroit Pistons, had a little skirmish, had a little fight with Isaiah Stewart. And let me break it down for you because this is the NBA. There's really no fight going on there. What happened was during the free throw shot in the third quarter, Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James were locking for position for a free throw. This was LeBron James' first game back from that abdominal strain, which he's missed quite a few games already this season. But he's able to come back, they're playing Detroit and they're jockeying for position at the free throw line. I believe, now LeBron elbowed him in the face, caught him in the eye. Isaiah Stewart begins to bleed above the eye, and he gets bucked, and he wants to fight LeBron. And, even though they were just standing in each other's face, all of a sudden, I guess the blood comes down, and he sees he's bleeding, and now he's running over coaches, running over fellow teammates, trying to get to LeBron. He paused when he got to DeAndre Jordan, but, that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to start any trouble. But the thing was, I understand him getting mad. We guys that's played pickup ball, basketball can get physical. People always say football is a physical game. So is the game of basketball. People throwing elbows, people doing what they got to do to get you up off of, man. Kobe used to even, hit people in the ribs with his elbow. And, it happens. I don't think LeBron James did that intentionally. Now, I do think he threw the elbow intentionally. I don't think he meant to hit him in the eye. So I'm not going to dwell on that for too long. LeBron James is not a dirty player. He's never been known as a dirty player. And I think LeBron has too much respect for the game to be a dirty player. Now, clean guys can do dirty things. But we can't all of a sudden label him as a dirty player. And LeBron, has his reputation to speak for him. He's was suspended for one game for the part he played in a little mini riot. Also missing a game is going to cost him about $284,000. So that's chump change to LeBron. Isaiah Stewart was suspended for 2 games, and due to salary differences, his 2 games is only going to cost him about $45,000. So forgive and forget. Now they do have a rematch against Detroit. I believe it's going to be tonight as I'm talking. LeBron James he wasn't able to play against New York in Madison Square Garden. The Lakers lost to the Knicks. Knicks pretty much had that game in the bag the whole game. Lakers made a little push in the third quarter, late in the third, going into the fourth, but the Knicks were able to hold on, get the victory. The Lakers right now, they are in desperate need of finding out who they are as a team. This team has no identity. You cannot look at the Los Angeles Lakers and say, what does this team does well? What does this team does that's great? Is this team a defensive team? Are they an offensive team? Right now, what we do know is they are a turnover-prone team, and that's thanks to Russell Westbrook. But that's a different conversation for a different day because the Lakers right now, it is what it is. Right now, they're fighting for position to establish some type of supremacy. But before they do that, they need to establish some type of identity. Also, with the Chicago Bears, only thing I'm going to mention about them is Justin Fields was injured this past Sunday, getting a rib injury, hit up in the third quarter, took a nice little hit, fell awkwardly. He's been getting beat up all season thanks to this coaching staff and that offensive line, and they just need to really get it together. I don't know what they're going to be doing going forward. There are reports that Coach Matt Nagy could be getting the boot after Thanksgiving. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that, but they need a whole lot more help than just Coach Matt Nagy being fired. They need to get that offensive line together, and they need to clean house in the front office. And last but not least, I have to show love to Tom Brady one more time because he tied Peyton Manning for the most touchdown passes thrown through 5 home games, which is currently at 20. Now, Peyton Manning has done this twice, throwing for 20 touchdowns in 5 home games in 2004 and in 2013. But Tom Brady doing it at the age of 44, trying to get this team back to the Super Bowl, playing at an MVP level in year 20 at age 44, people. You got to understand, Tom is the man. And I gotta show love to my boy. So shout out to Tom Brady for tying that record. Shout out to Peyton Manning. I love their relationship and their dynamic. Those are two of the greatest we ever seen play the professional game in the NFL. And that's my time, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for sticking with your boy. Definitely wanted to get this game out. This is the get this episode out. This is the Thanksgiving special. So before I leave you guys, man, I just want you guys to look at me, man. Really enjoy your life. Enjoy being here with your family. Remember that feeling back when it was 2020. When we were cooped up in the house, when this COVID nonsense all broke out and we were stuck in the house and we couldn't see our family and we were on lockdown. Cherish these moments. Cherish your family. Tell them you love them because we know they can be here today and gone tomorrow. We can have freedom today and not have it tomorrow. So you have to cherish the good times along with the bad because the bad teach you how to appreciate the good. That's just a message from Rob, man. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Oh, and a happy belated Veterans Day. I didn't get a chance to say that. Happy Veterans Day to all our armed forces, the people that serve us, that serve this country, that allow us our freedoms, that allow us our rights, that just allow us to live every day, in comfort. And I think we take that for granted, and we just have to show love. I have family that's in the military. My wife has family in the military. I have friends that's been in the military. So, shout out to y'all. And again, shout out to y'all. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Remember, you can catch me on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. I'm on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Catch your boy out here. Rob doing big things, baby, and his ain't gonna stop. Also, shout out to my boy Calvin for the new intro. I hope you guys enjoyed the new intro. We trying to do bigger and better things. His name is Calvin Norwood. Hit him up on Facebook. If you guys need some graphic design, if you need some video editing done, my boy Calvin will hook you up. Had to definitely give him a plug. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much. And thank y'all for being with me, man. Have a happy Thanksgiving. You know what I always tell you. You got to set an achievable goal. You got to set a goal that you know you can reach. Then you got to get a plan on how you're going to achieve that goal. Then once you have that plan set, you got to go out and execute, baby, because we're all about the execution. I hope you guys continue to be great. And you already know the slogan, baby. We gone. There's a bigger fight going on. There's a much bigger agenda than the streets. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that far in front of us. But we have to look past the illusions, look past the delusions of grandeur, and look at the bigger picture. We need to become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Fight for what you believe in. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We just getting started, baby. You guys know the slogan now. Hope you all have a great evening. And we gone.